When building a watch collection, sometimes you get the rare opportunity to add a grail piece to your collection, but rarely do you decide to sell what you worked really hard for. Hey, what's up you guys? Ben here. Today, I'll be going over why I decided to sell my Rolex Explorer 2 reference 16570 to see if there's anybody else out there who shares the same philosophy when it comes to collecting, and to see if maybe I can give you guys insight or vice versa. To give you guys some insight, I've been a fan of watches for about 13 years, but I've been really collecting watches for about 7, and when I say collecting, I mean more as an enthusiast. At the start of my journey, Rolex was naturally at the top of my bucket list, but unlike other people who lusted after the Submariner or even the Daytona or the GMT Master, I decided to go after the Explorer 3 because it's a little bit more understated and it's a little bit more low-key, which is what I prefer. So after graduating college, I was finally able to save up enough funds to pull the triggers on the watches of my dreams, namely the Rolex Explorer 2. I didn't really care for which year to go after or which serial number, so I ended up pulling the trigger on the best value buy that I could find, which ended up being a Y serial from the early 2000s era. I bought the watch from a trusted online seller, and at the time, the market price for the Explorer 2s was in the 5,000s. I was able to buy mine for slightly below the market price, just from good negotiating. But when the watch finally arrived at my doorstep, oh my god, I was in heaven basically. I bought many watches in my days at varying price points, but the unboxing of the Explorer 2 has to be one of the highlights of my collecting career. And the watch did not disappoint either. Despite the chintzy bracelet and some other small negatives, I loved the watch. It was comfortable, versatile, low-key like I had wanted, and I made a lot of memories during the time that the watch was in my possession. I've taken the watch out to special occasions as well as vacations that I remember very fondly. So with the backstory out of the way, let me get into why I decided to sell. So despite all the positives, I decided to sell earlier this year due to a couple reasons. One of the most important reasons was that the watch had basically doubled in value since I had purchased it, and it was a difficult opportunity for me to let go, considering that I could buy so many other watches with the profit gained. And personally, I'm not one of these guys that buy watches as investments and flip them. But lucky for me, I was in the market to sell, and I was able to basically sell at the peak of the Rolex inflation. And don't get me wrong, I loved my Explorer 2, but there's just a threshold of price where if a watch passes, it doesn't make sense for me to own the watch anymore, considering that I can get a much better bang for the buck from other brands that may not just be as popular. And this leads us into my second reason. There are other brands out there other than Rolex that offer better bang for the buck, that provide better value. To use the JLC Polaris as an example, it may not have the level of popularity as a Rolex would, but it has much superior craftsmanship, and to me, it's just as interesting, if not more so, than Rolex watches. And due to lesser demand, the pricing for brands like JLC tends to be more reasonable and fair. Furthermore, I personally don't hold Rolex on a pedestal, at least not like I used to when I had just gotten started on my collecting journey. That doesn't mean I dislike Rolex, but there are just so many other watches from other more interesting brands that I want to get to experience in my collecting journey. And selling the Rolex for a profit meant that I could do exactly that without putting too much burden on my personal finances. And to come to my final reason, I feel that Rolex ADs and many of its fan base are not shining the best light on the company as a whole. Many Rolex ADs specifically have become pretentious and rude towards their customer base. And yes, I get that not all Rolex ADs are terrible, but Rolex being a servicer of luxury products, even one bad apple is too much. And as Rolex is seen as luxury, there should be luxury service that comes along with the luxury product. And oftentimes, when you go into a Rolex AD, you don't even get a hello from the staff. I personally had this experience many times, even when the store was empty. So there's really no excuse. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys have had similar bad experiences at Rolex ADs. And also let me know if you guys have had good experiences. And how could I forget about the pretentious Rolex fanboys that basically sleep and eat Rolex, and that basically craps on any other brand that's not Rolex, except for maybe Patek and AP. I feel like they don't only tarnish Rolex as a brand, but they're also damaging to the watch community as a whole. They spread negativity with their elitist mindset, which in turn plagues current collectors and discourages new collectors from feeling like they can join the hobby, as they feel that having a Rolex, basically spending tens of thousands of dollars, is the only way to join the watch community as a collector. But the truth of the matter is, there isn't some sort of invisible standard that collectors have to meet before they can be part of the watch community. You can be a watch enthusiast with a watch in the tens of dollars to something in the thousands of dollars, and everything in between and beyond. Plaguing a brand new hobbyist or a potential hobbyist to only buy into Rolex, it's like telling a man to ask a woman for their hand in marriage before they've even gone out on a date. It's off-putting and discouraging at best. But to wrap up the video, in conclusion, the Rolex Explorer 2, it'll remain in my memories forever. But due to reasons such as the Rolex price hike earlier in the year, me being more interested in other brands, and the pretentiousness that comes with certain Rolex associates, the watch unfortunately had to go. And to be quite honest with you, if there hadn't been a price hike, I probably would have kept the watch because I did truly enjoy and love the piece. And also, I did want to mention that the Rolex wasn't the only watch that was on the chopping block. In the latter half of 2021 and the beginning of 2022, I did sell a couple other pieces to basically make room for other watches in the collection. And by that I just mean so that I could fund other watch purchases. But I'll get more into that in a collection update video in the upcoming month. Thank you to all of you that stuck around till the end of the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of Rolex? Are there any other brands that genuinely interest you more than Rolex? And if you're one of those type of people that are really into Rolex, are you into it because of its marketing and reputation, or are you into it just because it's something that you genuinely love and you just love the look and the heritage of the pieces? I'd love to know. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.